Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Bo again. So, today we're going to talk a little bit more about voting rights, and we're going to talk about the traditions in this country and the founding principles, and how this country has historically, maybe, looked out for smaller demographics at times. Because I got this message. You are so disingenuous. In your video about voting rights in Texas, you said the U.S. had a founding principle of protecting smaller demographics from larger demographics in the voting process. Wrong. We don't cater to smaller demographics. Cite the article, section, and clause of the Constitution that shows this as a founding principle. The larger demographic wins always, then they make the rules. If they don't like it, they shouldn't have come here. They who shouldn't have come here would be Black Americans and Latinos in Texas, in Tejas. I think it goes without saying that a whole lot of people who perhaps have a darker skin tone in Texas, they didn't cross the border crossed them when the U.S. took the area they were already living on. And I'm totally just not even going to get into the whole idea of Black Americans shouldn't have come here. You might want to really think about those statements. But aside from that, I will play your silly little game. Cite article, section, and clause of the U.S. Constitution that shows a principle of looking out for smaller demographics when it comes to voting. Okay, Article 1, Section 3, Clause, all of them. All of them in that section. Now, Article 1, Section 3, it creates something, and it's super obscure. Perhaps you've never heard of it. It's called the United States Senate, a whole house in the legislative branch. Its purpose was to kind of safeguard the interest of smaller states, or states that maybe had a large geographic area, but were more rural and therefore didn't have a lot of population to get a lot of seats in the House. This was how they safeguarded these smaller demographics and made sure that those states had their interest represented. It's not just like some obscure founding principle. It's literally how our government is set up. The idea of making sure that everybody has equal representation is an evolving one in the United States. When it first started, it was pretty limited as to who was going to get to vote for the people who were going to represent them. That has changed over time, but the tradition of making sure that the areas that, because they're smaller in geographic size or they don't have the numbers to outweigh other larger demographics, making sure that their interests are protected is enshrined in the Constitution. It is the Senate. It's the reason the Senate exists. If they weren't concerned about that, they wouldn't have a whole house where every state, no matter its size, no matter its population, got 2 votes, and that all the bills had to go through there. It gave smaller demographics the ability to have a check. That doesn't seem that complicated. I would also point out that if you have to divide up and dilute the voting power of a group in a certain area to stay on top, they're the larger demographic in that area. Gerrymandering is wrong. I can't believe this is a conversation we're still having today. That seems like it should go without saying, like a whole lot of things in this video. So the point being, Republicans are going to try to do this. They know that their platform of fear-mongering is kind of growing old. They don't have any new ideas to present. So the only way they can preserve power is by suppressing the vote of people who would vote against them, or by diluting the power of that vote. and mixing those districts in with Republican strongholds. These are actions of people who are supporting bad ideas, and they know they're supporting bad ideas, but they're so desperate to cling to power that they'll undermine the founding principles of the country. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.